to Jimmy O'Neill's Pubcast, a place where we celebrate Irish culture and unpack expat life years on after leaving Ireland. We're going to start the podcast right here, where we should begin with publicans James Gallagher and Zenita O'Neill. What's the crack?
How you going? You
Not too
well?
bad. Nice to see you.
That Guinness is full. Thank you, Emma. So, James, I think you've been in Melbourne the longest out of all of us here.
I've
So let's start with you. Tell us your story. How did you come to Australia? When did you come?
well, believe it or not, I actually was originally supposed to go to America. That was the plan. I think we came out of college, and the plan was that we'd all go there and do work. And
Whereabouts in America were
New
you
York,
thinking?
I
New
had
York?
a job. I had a job in a restaurant in Manhattan,
Cool.
and it fell through kind of last minute. But then there was a wave of guys heading to Australia at the time, 2003 this was, and I was like, I just jumped in the bandwagon. So no reason at all to come here except for the boys were coming here. You know? So came out then, landed in Melbourne, absolutely hated it. Middle of winter, middle of May, was here for about 5 days, pissing the rain.
It's Blake in winter.
And I was like, this is not Australia. So flew to Cairns for about 3 or 4 months, and that was party central. So.
For any Aussies listening, he means
Cairns.
Cairns. But yeah, we was up there for a little bit. Then my dad came down and was coming over for the Melbourne Cup. So that's when I landed in. I came back down to Melbourne, and yeah, fell in love with the place. Then after that, I ended up living in Flemington, living around there at the race course. Just
Big spot.
big in my life since I've been here. But yeah, then did my whole year. Got offered a sponsorship to stay. Of course, Mammy was calling at home, as they always do, and I thought, let's go home and finish off the year. And I was there about 10 minutes, and I was like, shit, I want to go back. So
What have I done?
What have I done? So it took me a couple of years to probably get. I applied for visas here and there. And I said, you know what, I'll just come out and land. So just landed, and within about 3 weeks, I got a job and got sponsored. And then been here ever since.
And how old were you at that time?
I would have been 26 coming back out. So 27, 2007. That was when I think I was lucky enough to come just before the financial crisis. Managed to sell my car, all my bits and pieces and stuff. In another 6 months, I probably wouldn't have. So, and then the wave came back out. The Melbourne, as you know, was probably flying back around then. The crack was mighty, all the pubs, and there was no worry about work the next day. Everyone was just out 8 nights a week.
Yeah,
Monday club.
the Irish
But,
were going off.
it was solid for a little bit, and all your mates you met around then, like all your friends for life. I've still not would have met around then, obviously. But like living here, you can't, you gotta make new friends. The worst thing about living down here is people going home, and it's kind of every year there's someone else going home and you lose. So the only way to survive out here is to kind of make new friends and. Essentially, that's what we've done as we go along the way. But Melbourne's my home now. I think I'm here now, probably nearly more here in Australia than I have been back home. But obviously, home is home.
Yes.
You can't deny the fact that there's a bit of Irish in me. So.
Just a wee bit. So much so that we need subtitles for you today.
Sorry, you can add them at the end.
What was that first job that you got sponsored in?
So it was actually, believe it or not, in the Quiet Man in Flemington. So it was probably the first pub I walked into for a beer as well. So at the time they were, like I said, it was well known for their food and music, live music, just a place to meet. Basically one of the reasons why I fell in love with Melbourne, was just a community home from home. Essentially that's where, we dreamt up Jimmy O'Neill's, similar, there was only a small couple of venues, Irish pubs in Melbourne at the time. You'd frequent, but there was none that you'd actually make your regular pub that you'd go to. And I think Jimmy's was kind of stemmed from that. That's where we met Zenita.
Were you working as a chef there?
The chef, chef, yeah.
Because the food was pretty famous at that time there at the Quiet Man. It was the Irish bar to go to.
Yeah, exactly. It was the place to be. Again, there was a lot of Irish out then in the town. They started then to veer towards St Kilda. I think that's when St Kilda started to boom, and
County Kilda.
County Kilda, and that. So I think it was kind of it was this smart move was to come over this side, and like I said, we opened this place thinking it was going to be a couple of quiet weekends and we'd build it. We were completely wrong.
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then you wished you had a bigger pub, didn't you?
That's it. Yeah, and everyone still wishes for a bigger pub, but no, we'll
It's coming.
let's go.
And can we thank you for the Irish stew inside the loaf of bread?
Look,
Was that you?
it wasn't me. It was there when I got there. It was
Yeah.
definitely I probably kicked the food on a little bit
Yeah.
from where it was. Probably modernising it a little bit, and that's kind of essentially Jimmy's as well. We kind of modernised the Irish pub, the traditional Irish pub that you'd have in an Australian's mind is very prehistoric Ireland.
Yes.
In a pub game, like Ireland's lifted this game recently. With drinks, cocktails, food. It's definitely obviously a bit of European infusion within everything, and a lot of our customers have come in here and in like they've travelled, but the traditional Irish pub in Melbourne is kind of like, well, that's what Ireland's like, but pretty much it's probably Temple Bar. That's the only public strip that's probably similar, and a few of the older pubs, out west and some of that is still they're becoming less and less, but it's. So we kind of modernise it, and I try and our customers and clientele have been here for a while. They want something different. They don't, the same old sticky carpets and muggy toilets and that kind of stuff. So that's where Jimmy's kind of stemmed from a little bit.
Yeah, that was part of the inspiration. Yeah. Now, Zenita, I have a fair idea when you arrived because we left at the same time and arrived at the same time. Yeah. What's your story? What brought you here?
Actually, our mate, Teresa. Teresa was in Melbourne, so decided to come over with a backpack.
A literal backpack.
And said I was going to do 6 months.
What year was this? 2010.
Yeah, 2010, Yep. And then I just loved it. But couldn't get much work. The work wasn't plentiful. It was really hard. And it was really hard to get sponsored.
And what kind of work were you looking for?
I was environmental health.
Yeah.
So I was working in councils. And councils didn't really sponsor. So it was really hard. But I was lucky enough, I got one. And then I kind of grew really quickly in my role. Like, I was able to climb the ladder. If I had been in the same role back home, I would have had to wait until somebody fell off the perch to get into the role. Yeah. So it was just too easy to grow. And I think that's why I stayed. That's okay, Mum.
And what was your reason for exiting Ireland? Did you just want to start somewhere fresh and new? What was your...
I wanted the opportunity to get into a new place and actually find me.
Yeah. Because you were pretty young. How old were you when you left?
21.
Yeah, a baby.
I was a wee baby.
Yeah.
And I wasn't mature at all. So I just found that I just found me when I came here, and I wanted to keep finding out who me was.
Yeah, because you started to perform live music once you got here as well, which is how you two met.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was always a singer back home, but I felt a bit lonely on stage, so I wanted to be in a band, and also it was more of a social gathering. I wanted to meet people and
community.
Yeah, so we formed a band, Renee. Renee was the crazy drummer. And I remember getting our first gig in the Pint and Punt. Yeah. I remember asking, it was Joe in the Pint and Punt. I was like, give us a gig. And he's like, if you got a band? I'm like, I'll get one. And I went on Gumtree and we found Tommy. And it just said on his little advertisement, I play fiddle, call me. That's all said. So
if anyone knows Tommy O'Neill.
Yeah. And so we texted Tommy and he was like, yeah, I'll come around for a jam. And then we were like, we can't just have a fiddle player. We need a guitar player, we need a mandolin player, banjo player we were looking for. And then we found James, and his was like this big essay about what he did. He was definitely Australian.
Yeah,
and
but
we were
could
like,
play music.
Could play, yeah. So we caught up with James and Tommy, and we brought them into the living room, and they were as quiet as mice. They were actually...
awkward bastards.
Yeah, really awkward, yeah. They're really awkward.
Give him a drink?
No, but then Tommy says, let's meet at the park. So we met at the park, and Tommy came with a wee bag of cans, and he sat down, and we were like, fuck, that guy can play. And I was like, oh my God, he's pissed. Like, he could actually play better drunk. Anyway, a few practices later, we had our first gig in the Pint and Punt, and we were so nervous. But we did all right.
We did all right. I remember saying to you, right, we got to really lean into this Irish shit now, because the Irish pubs are popping off, and I think there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did, and we
Yeah.
started playing all the fiddly days and the Galway girls and
Yeah.
all that.
Oh, yes.
And
It helped that the pubs back then, beer was cheap and everyone else was on a different wavelength.
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember Irish lads walking to the bar and ordering 3 doubles at a time. Like it was.
Because you couldn't do it at home.
No.
You know, here it's just like, motor on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was the beginning of your music career,
Yeah.
really.
So then we decided to write some music.
Yeah.
We recorded an EP.
Which
and-
is the intro song to the Pubcast.
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tipping it up to Nancy. I think. We're gonna
Okay.
do,
Yeah. Nice.
And I think then we done a lot of festivals, so that kind of helped travel Australia. Like we got to see Australia by doing that.
Yeah.
One of the gigs I remember is a wedding in Byron Bay. And we played in a double-decker bus, and the double-decker broke down.
Oh my
And then
God.
we all left our instruments on the bus and went out and pushed the bus. Do you
I
remember that?
forgot about that. Probably because I was pissed.
Yeah, yeah. It was great. So many memories. And we played Port Fairy,
Yeah.
and that was great.
Celtic Festival.
Celtic Festival, yeah. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's when I met James. We always played the St. Patrick's Day Festival
Down
on
at
the
the
street.
Quiet
Yeah,
Man.
the Quiet Man.
That
Yeah.
was the place to go for
Yeah.
Paddy's Day, the
Yeah.
street party over at Quiet Man. Did you have a bit to do with that?
Yeah, so it was already going for a while. Actually, it was going for a good while before that. But yeah, I kind of injected some
You got the good band,
bit
you
of
see.
life in the good band. That was it.
See, yeah.
But again, look, it probably tied in with that influx of Irish and whatever else. So like, there always was that, known for that Paddy's Festival, that it was like Australians used to go to it, and, embrace it and stuff like that, and you can see nowadays, Paddy's Days, a lot of Australian pubs have it,
Well,
so
you
it's-
used to run a whole festival
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, well, that's where it came from as well. So we had a chat at the end of the festival, and we were like, we should do something like this. And I think that's where Jimmy O'Neill's was born. And I remember coming down to St Kilda, looking at the venues and seeing what venues we did, and we actually decided no.
we walked away.
We actually walked away, and I didn't know James really, and
Yeah.
James didn't really know me. We just knew each other in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we had
Back-
got the
we
pub,
back to Ireland.
yeah, went back to Ireland. That's
for-
right. And then both separate ways, didn't talk to each other. And then when we came back, you sent me a text message.
I was like, how are you?
Feeling a
And
bit
it was-
inspired.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
thought the same thing.
Yeah.
It was like, let's
do it.
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. And it was,
Yeah.
you were keen. I was keen. I
Yeah.
don't know about the other half, my wife, but she didn't really know about it. So she was. But then once, look, I had to do something. I was at that stage.
Yeah.
It was Zenita knew I was keen to do something, and yeah, it just clicked, and yeah.
Yeah, it went from there. Yeah.
So your background in councils was probably quite helpful when it came to all the permits and those kind of bureaucracy side of
Yeah.
things. And was it hard putting on a festival in St Kilda?
Yeah, so the first festival was a bit hard because we had to get permission with the park.
No history.
And no history,
Yeah.
so it was all about trust. So, but we had a good reputation here, so that helped. I guess the first one went really well, so the council really opened up, and we grew from there.
And councils want to be seen to be supporting cultural things like this.
100%, they're
as
very
well.
supportive. This
Yeah.
council's a really supportive council.
Yeah.
And then we decided we wanted a parade. We just wanted to keep going. It's not like us,
Why
you know.
not?
We just wanted
Yeah.
to keep pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And then obviously the pandemic hit us,
Oof.
and
Yeah.
it was the day of the festival when the pandemic hit us, the lockdown.
Yeah.
And I remember being at home, and James is in the park, and we were just on the phone to each other, and then the council rang. It's like,
I
that's
think
it.
it was the Grand Prix was on that the same day, so people might remember. And the drivers all flew out of the Grand Prix and never told the Grand Prix,
Yeah.
and that was when we knew that was
It's not happening.
That was not happening.
Yeah.
I knew then straight. I was good. Like I knew straight away that if they're gone, there's no way
That's
we
it.
can go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we lost a great deal. My mum and dad were here, so I was panicking to get my mum and dad back. And I remember getting on the phone to Christine Malachley, who saved the day really,
Yeah.
and she flew my mum and dad.
Emerald
She got my
Travel.
mum Emerald Travel. She got my mum and dad on a flight,
Oh my
and
God.
the flights were all closing. So really thankful for that.
Emerald Travel, they
Emerald
aren't
Travel,
paying us
yeah.
for this.
And then I think after we so like us, we just
Yeah.
don't give up. We're like, we'll go again.
Go again.
Yeah.
And went again. And I think this year we got hit with the weather.
Yeah.
This year, it was
One of those
extreme
things,
weather,
extreme-
and you can't control everything, so it's just the punt you take.
Yeah.
So we want to grow the festival. That's what we're all about. We're all about being a community, home from home.
Yeah.
We want to bring people together. That's what this pub's about.
Yeah.
It's not about just a pub. It's about connection. We want people to meet people here.
Yeah.
You know, you come to Australia, where did you meet? I want to say Jimmy O'Neill's.
And St Kilda. It's the Irish place, right? James, what do you miss most about Ireland?
Oh, look, apart from the usual, like, family, you know. I did miss the food for a little bit, you know, but kind of as you grow and from here, you miss it less and less. Now, we have a ritual every time we go home. You go straight to the Chinese, the sit-down meal.
The Chinese.
The real Chinese.
The China Garden.
Irish Chinese, yeah.
China Garden. Michelle, she remembers my food order and drink order every time we go back, and I'm like, there'll be sometimes 6 years between visits, you know. So
that's great.
we're booked in. I think we're going home in August, so we're booked in again. But that's one of the things. But other than that, like, it's funny. I get home after a couple of weeks and go, geez, I fancy dim sim, you know.
Yeah. And do you go for a big fry up when you get home too?
I do, but you know what? It's one of those things. As mothers do, you have it first day and it's on the plate every day after that, you know. So you're gonna play it, and it, like I said, the Guinness and the brown bread. I mean, you're not used to
it's
light
heavy.
up heavy, but like honestly, obviously the pub here we have fries, and I don't really miss that side of things. But
you've got access to
one of the things more recently enough, me have done well in the Gaelic, and the Sundays out, going to Co Park, you know, the days out with the lads, like we had.
They're no Tyrone.
Yeah. Well, we're not there.
We're not going to go there right now. Okay.
Those kind of Sundays in the summer, which wasn't too many, but you know, you do remember them. You know, that's the kind of stuff you see it. It's a bit more visual now. You've got Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that to see what everyone else is doing at home and going, oh, jeez, I missed that. But then about 2 weeks later, it's pissing rain and you're happy again, you know?
Yeah. It does often feel like not a lot changes between trips.
Exactly.
What county are you from, James?
County Meath.
Meath.
Navan.
Yeah, Navan, okay. And Zenita? We know you've just yelled that out.
Strabane.
And what do you miss about Strabane, about home?
I miss my mummy and daddy and my sisters and the fam. That's most. Like, if I could just bring them here, that'd be perfect. I also miss the shopping. I really miss the shopping. Like the wee Primark buys, you know, get your knickers and socks. And
Kmart doesn't cut it?
No, doesn't. Pennies for the
Southerners,
yeah. I do miss the shopping. I find, but I think it's the longer I've been here, you know your shops. Like, you get it. And I think I do miss the crack at home. It's great crack.
But you found your crack here with
100%,
loads of other Irish people.
Yeah.
And a select few Aussies. What from Australia would you like to give to Ireland if you could?
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to give Ireland the same opportunity that I got here.
Yeah.
And that's why we left, right? Because the opportunity's all here.
Yeah. And some
and
sunshine.
It's easier, and some sunshine. But I actually find that it's actually easier to get more support with the Irish here, because you kind of rally together.
Yeah.
Not so much back home.
Yeah. Yeah. And for you, James?
I'll give them a Bunnings.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Bunnings. Yeah. But there was a B&Q, was there not?
No, see, not where I'm from. It's like, wherever you are in Australia, you're within 10 minutes of Bunnings, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you walk in, they all look the same. You know where everything is. Well, I do now, after a few fit-outs.
Yeah.
But they're like the McDonald's of, hardware stores. It's just, they're everywhere. I think that's probably one thing.
I just find it fascinating when you say you do a Bunnings person, you say, where's something, they're like 49.
Yeah, well, I find with Bunnings, you either go in there and they are absolutely clueless or an absolute nerd. There's no in between.
And you know when they have all the wee badges on their apron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bunnings, and then you have.
So if you ever get out of this, I'll probably go work in Bunnings.
Yeah.
I know where everything is.
Sausage sizzles every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we know hospitality is the beating heart of Ireland. It's one of the only industries that's sort of lived through all of the crashes. How do you feel that you've brought that here?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, touched it earlier, like modernising the kind of the Irish pub from an Australian or person's eyes of what we actually are. People do kind of tend to think that we are just potatoes and Guinness and that's all we do, but I think that there's definitely a lot more than that. And we do see that within our venues, and like people that are well travelled and whatnot, they kind of get that. More so, that's why we've like everything else, you've got to evolve as a business too. So I think that's kind of where I reckon, and like even being over here, it's probably hard to keep on trends because you're not there, and like I said, it's what used to be 2 years for something to take off now it's 3 months, you know.
Yeah.
So you can pass you by like that. So definitely kind of, you know, trends, food trends, and, you know, drink trends and stuff like that.
How about you, Zenita?
I feel that we've brought the music.
Yeah.
And that, the real sessions we brought here. And I think, like, again, the crack. Like, you know, you go to an Irish pub, it's good crack.
Yeah.
Back home, no matter what pub it is, no matter, it's your local. And I think we've brought that local, and I really think we honed in on it in actually lockdown, because we brought everybody together. I remember hanging out out the window of the pub, serving our takeaways.
Yeah.
And like we knew everybody. It was like people actually came to the window to have the chat.
Just a crack.
To crack, because there was a lot of lonely people and a lot of people were disconnected. So I feel that we brought that.
Yeah, cool. What's your proudest moment since being in Australia?
My wee man.
Your wee man.
Having my wee boy, Gibson.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gibson. How old's he?
He'll be a year next week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's a real wee character.
He's a wee nuisance. That's who he is. Yeah.
He's a wee mad bastard.
Yeah.
How about you, James?
Yeah, like, you know, so obviously saying the clear family thing. I think opening Jimmy's, I think that was the most intense month of probably our lives so far. Like, it's after that we kind of just did it ourselves, and it was obviously there after a little bit, but like it was just that whole planning and getting that. It was just the stress and just even the lack of sleep, and then to see it pull off and to be so in the first week or two, that was probably it. And then now, look, I'm not saying it was easy since, but that was the most intense but proudest I've probably been since I got here. And then
And you've done that 2 more times since now.
yeah, we're in the process. The process of, don't mention the war, but yeah, like I said, it's you kind of like it.
Yeah, obviously you get something out of that
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
taking something and shining it up and
Exactly.
representing it
I
to
think
the
this
world.
next one is the 360, because we met at this pub.
Yes.
So obviously it's the
Are
quiet
you,
man.
yeah, are you able to talk about that process
Yeah,
a
we
bit?
can talk about that.
Yeah.
I was actually on maternity leave when this happened, so James
Did you
rang
get
me.
bored?
No, James rang me and was like, "The pub's for sale." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
So okay, let's do it.
yeah,
And then it happened, and we were like, "Fuck, okay, we
Yeah.
bought the pub."
yeah.
Then I told my wife then, who's also the accountant. So
Is
you can imagine.
is she Irish or Australian?
She's Australian, yeah.
She's
Italian
Australian.
background.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, cool.
You know,
Very, very supportive.
very supportive. Like a family as well. Like, you know, very lovely.
Yes.
Supportive. Like they're on my side more than Monica's, which is great. You know, I love to do dishes or any cooking, and like, you know, treat like a royalty when I walk to the house.
Yeah.
Their house, sorry, and then I come home. Then I'm back to square one.
Brilliant.
But no, I think look, very supportive. Like they have been. Kids are very, even though they're Australian, they're there. They love the St. Patrick's Fest. They love to get down. So I think they you know, like Christmas, a second Christmas for them. You know, so they love to get involved, and I think Gibson will be the same now once he's got no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Quiet Man, where you first met, is now yours.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not going to be called the Quiet Man anymore.
No.
No. You
And
haven't announced the new name.
Oh
though.
no, we have.
You have?
So we went into the history
Yes.
of the building,
Yeah.
brick and mortar. We actually went right into the architecture of the building,
Cool.
and we found that the original owner, one of the original owners was Margaret Ann Whitty, so we called it Auntie Annie's Hotel.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And we brought the auntie from the family of pubs that we're creating here.
Yeah.
So Jimmy O'Neill is obviously the firstborn, and then we have his naughty sister, Naughty Nancy's.
Yeah.
And now we've got the crazy Auntie Annie's.
Yeah, cool. And Naughty Nancy's, is it an Irish bar or is it a little less Irish?
I would say a little less Irish,
Yeah.
but it does a crack in Guinness, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Has that you know, connection to the race course. On, you know, there's a lot of Irish that kind of work and frequent the race course every day. So it'll be you know, you'll have all your favorite drinks and food in there, and yeah, like I said, we have another aspect of a restaurant side of things.
Oh, beautiful.
Which will be separate to Auntie. It's called Enbarr.
Okay.
So that'll be we'll really reveal that, I say, soon enough.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's on Instagram. Like it, Enbarr is the name of the restaurant. It's an Irish restaurant. So
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we went
more
down
to
an
come.
Irish mythology.
Yeah,
for
amazing.
Enbarr, yeah.
Love it.
In one of the when we were stripping back the pub, and we're still stripping back that fucking pub.
Yeah.
We found the original staircase, and on the staircase there's a little horse.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So we've incorporated that into the name of Enbarr because it's to do with horse.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
The iconography of it being so close to the
Exactly,
race course
exactly.
and all that,
Yeah.
it just kind of
It
comes
was,
together.
you know, how stables and jockeys back in the day, and that kind of, you know,
Yeah,
when Auntie Annie was looking after them and things. So yeah, they kind of all tied it together.
yeah.
And I think just on James's take on the fact that we're elevating the food, Enbarr will be more about elevating Irish food
Gorgeous.
and not so much potato.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing I think people don't understand is we have fine dining too.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I can't wait to come and dine there.
Yeah.
And speaking of food, what is your favourite dish to cook, James?
Believe it, I love doing a stew.
Yeah.
I do love a stew. I don't. One of the things that I like when there's a little ingredient called Yorkshire relish. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
It's like a little bottle of it's like a Leon Worcester sauce, like
Okay.
a similar bottle in red. But every now and then, folks come out to bring me a little bottle. I'm like, oh, and there's only 200 mils, so but I make a stew with that, and it's a couple of drops in it, and
That's your
it's
secret
just,
weapon.
It's just a secret, and it just
Yeah.
reminds me so much of when you can have it on your breakfast sausages. I think it's more of a Galway thing, but my parents from Tuam. So
Is it like brown sauce?
it's like a Worcester sauce,
Oh, okay.
but like in a red bottle that looks like it's the only wire sauce that used to be.
Yeah.
So similar,
Okay.
but it's like a spicy vinegary
Yum.
kind of that gives your stews a kick. And yeah, I get that, and the first thing I do is I'll have a stew, and
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, so that's my little
What
taste.
else do you put in your stew?
Look, I think the beef is most important.
Yes.
It has to be good beef.
Yeah, what cut of beef do you use?
We do beef chuck,
Yeah.
like leg,
and then slow cook the shit out of
slow
it?
cook the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like honestly, slow cooker is probably the way to do it. You get to do right. I mean, your veggies are great as well. Parsnips are a bit of a shocker over here, but yeah.
So parsnips go in your stew?
Parsnips, carrots,
Yeah.
herbs, potatoes.
Leeks? No?
Not really too pushed the leeks.
Do you put onion in there?
On plenty of onion, yeah.
Aye, loads
Onions,
of
the
onions.
base, tomato paste,
Mhm.
stock.
Yeah. Any
and a bit of-
wine?
Not so much, no. Not in my stews. My stews, that's a little Worcester sauce. I mean,
Yeah.
the Yorkshire relish is a little secret weapon. That
Yeah.
a bit of stock and yeah.
It's always interesting to
and
hear.
I'd always do a pot of mash on the side.
Oh, you had to have a wee bit of mash, dog. We're not animals.
Yeah. So.
No, it's always interesting to hear what people put in their stews because I think everyone's a bit different. Like they're all similar but a bit different. What do you like to cook, Zenita? Do you cook?
Next
No.
question.
Actually, what's your favourite Irish meal to eat then?
I would love to say something from James, but that you've never cooked ever for me. Actually,
Well,
never cooked for me.
No.
You've
Just
heard it here
thought about
first.
that. Yeah.
Do you want to try his stew? Does
Yeah,
that sound
I would
good?
love to try your stew.
I'll tell you, right?
Yeah.
Get me a bottle of Yorkshire relish, we go do it. It's very hard to come by. You can only buy it in done stores. You can't buy it in
See,
Tesco's
shopping
and
back
so
home,
there
them
you go.
stores.
There you go.
Irish secret sauce. We've heard
Yeah.
it
For
here
me,
first.
I love an old turkey and ham, a wee bit of stuffing.
Like a wee Christmas
Wee
dinner.
Christmas dinner.
Wee Christmas dinner, like roast turkey.
And I can't wait. It's Christmas in July around the corner, so I'm going to have a wee
So
turkey and ham.
do you do a wee Christmas in
We're
July?
flat out in Christmas in July.
Yeah, roast dinners.
Wee roast dinners,
Oh,
yeah.
lovely. Okay.
Of mash, roasts,
Yeah, beautiful.
ham,
Stuffing.
stuffing.
Oh, you
Bit of
can't.
cranberry.
I don't like cranberry. I like
Wine.
cranberry.
I was the same, but
Yeah.
it's actually not bad. There's a tinge of it on your bit of gravy.
Yeah, it balances it
mash,
all
yeah,
out. The wee
yeah.
sweet.
No,
I wasn't a
thing.
fan, but it's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
going with me.
But you've got the palate of like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, it's been
Me and
really,
Jane, yeah.
it's been really good to get to know you both. Just in wrapping up, is there anything else that you want to share about your experience of being here in Australia, being publicans, Jimmy O'Neill's with our listeners?
I think if you haven't been here, come and have a chat with us.
Yeah.
We're always hanging out at the bar, and yeah. Thanks for coming if you are a good customer of ours. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
for me.
No, pretty much that's it. Hope to see you here soon.
Yeah, you've been listening to Jimmy O'Neill's Pubcast, the place you come to as an expat to reconnect with your culture. Thank you. My name's Renee, and we'll see you next time.